G'day, I'm Warwick Schiller. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about time and time management with your horse. You know, my wife's in human resources and she's riding around right behind the camera right now, and I said, quick honey, give me a quick human resources thing about time management. And she looked at me and she said, well, you can't manage time, you can only manage your actions. And I went, perfect, that's great for this blog, because, you know, I just got back from a clinic in Florida and there was a lady there had a horse and it's had the same issue for the last 13 years. When her and her husband try to split up on a trail ride, it gets all anxious and whinnies and carries on. And so I said, okay, well, let's start working on it. And so we started working on it in the arena. The arena at that clinic in Florida was like a little dressage, a covered dressage sized arena, but it was in the middle of 40 acres, flat, green 40 acres in Florida. And so you could ride out of the arena and ride around. And the day before, she had tried to ride her horse out of that arena and go for a trail ride, and the whole time it was jigging and dancing because her husband was back in the arena. So anyway, I hopped on her horse and started working on it, and it took me 30 minutes to get that horse, the way I felt, really comfortable going from the middle of the arena away from her husband's horse out the gate. Okay, 30 minutes, 35 minutes, whatever. But in 45 minutes, I had it to where I could walk out the gate and walk, you know, 5 acres away, and it walked forward away from her husband's horse with its ears up. And I'm not really going to go into right now how we did that. It's basically how you fix buddy sour horses, or horses that are attracted to other horses. But the thing, the husband said to me later, he said, you know, I just can't believe how patient you are, because it took you 30 minutes to get that horse to want to go away from my horse, and you know, I don't know if I can be that patient. I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'm impatient. Because your wife, she's the patient one. She's been riding that horse for the last 13 years with the same problem. I don't have 13 years to ride the same problem, but I do have 45 minutes to spend teaching that horse how to fix that problem. So that's kind of what I want to talk about here is time management. There's a lot of sayings for it. If you take the time it takes less time. If you looked at the start of this clip, there is a quote by a famous German philosopher from like 1700s or something or other, and that quote is exactly along the same lines. Recently I was chatting on Facebook with a lady from Australia who has a Friesian, and she wants to do dressage with it, and I've helped her with it a little bit along the way. She has it with a trainer, but I've helped her with some questions along the way. And the other day she had a question. She said, you know, oh, the other day I rode him and he did this. And I said, well, I just go back to the beginning. And she said, but I only have an hour to ride every day. If I went back to the beginning every day, I'd never get anything done. I'd be just doing groundwork. And so I replied back to her and I said, no, going back to the beginning doesn't mean going back to the beginning and taking as long as it took initially. Just go, I mean, you know, those young horses, what they learn the first day, you know, when I first start with them, what they learn the first day, I come back the second day and hopefully I can get through the first day's work in 5 minutes and start adding something else. And I come back the third day and I get rid of the first day and the second day in 10 minutes and add something else. And after a while you should be able to go through like your first 30 days in 5 minutes. Like just check and make sure all that stuff's good. Anyway, so the lady in Australia, she went back to the beginning one day for 10 minutes and she said, I've never had that good a ride on him. And so anyway, that's my point in this whole blog, is about time management. You know, I read a really good quote the other day, and it was a quote about doing things in a hurry, and it said, what did it say? We're going to do this in a hurry no matter how long it takes. And that's what a lot of people do, you know, like for instance, the lady with the horse that's had the problem. She was in a hurry to get that fixed. And I'm going to do it in a hurry no matter how long it takes. Well, 13 years later, it's still doing the same thing, whereas I spent 45 minutes getting something little happening, and 45 minutes later it was, you know, fix something that hadn't been fixed in 13 years. But anyway, that gives you something to think about.